Why do we enjoy to suffer? What if I told you that the hardest challenges to overcome tend to comfort us most? Why did it take me 45 attempts to kill the savage beastfly in Silksong? Why am I content while wanting to bash my head into a wall? Why did Dad leave? This video will answer all of those questions and more as we explore the surprising psychological reasons why we are more than happy to throw ourselves at impossible challenges while throwing our controllers at the wall. Hey guys, Echo here, and this is Difficulty Philosophy. We all know abundance breeds complacency, but what is it that causes us to feel this way? Why would we feel empty if everything we needed or wanted for in our lives was handed to us on a silver platter? The greater the challenge, the greater the reward, and this applies not only to video games, but everything in our lives. The truth is that challenge, that mountain to climb, that one boss you just can't beat is your purpose, if even for a fleeting moment. For even a short time, you feel an almost addictive sense to overcome that challenge. Maybe because you're bored, maybe to prove something to yourself or others, or maybe your brain is chasing that feeling of overcoming overwhelming odds and winning. This is called the effort paradox, and it's linked to everyone's favorite little guy living rent-free in our brains, dopamine. We avoid struggles in our life, yet we also crave them, and the reason is relatively simple. Our brains are wired to encourage perseverance and challenge just as much as it likes scrolling on TikTok for 6 hours a day. Unfortunately, scrolling through reels after seeing your 5th car crash at 7 AM while taking a poop in the morning is much easier than completing a challenging activity, and so we typically gravitate toward that. But since gaming has been a thing, challenge has always been a core tenet of a game's appeal. First, having players face off against each other with high scores. Space Invaders and Asteroids prove that challenge can take a fun game and turn it into an obsession. People spend years perfecting every last finger movement, studying enemy patterns, and figuring out values to literally turn it into a science. This is why the reward is important, but not as important as the journey to the top. Imagine tomorrow, you randomly get teleported to a beautiful view on top of a mountain. I mean, it's beautiful, but you didn't do anything to get there, so you might stay and soak in the sights for a while, but it will kind of just feel like staring out of your window. Now imagine the exact same mountain, but a 2-hour hike to and from the top. You're exhausted, but damn, that view is worth it, and you might spend the whole day enjoying the sights and check out some other areas while you're up there. Not only that, but when you return home, you'd feel accomplished, that you conquered a mountain, you did something good for your health, and have something to tell your co-workers when you go sit in your little box on Monday. Relating this to video games, cheating or cheesing can be fun, but it doesn't feel as good as if you had learned that boss's movesets and really taken the time to get good. This challenge has limits and boundaries. One of the hardest things in game design is balancing the need for a challenge with a fun experience. This obviously depends on the game. No 10-year-old plays the original Demon Souls for the first time and has an immense sense of achievement, or at least I didn't. But when challenge is difficult, yet the win is obtainable, we enter a flow state where our brains have enough challenge to put its full attention on the task, while simultaneously knowing that the challenge can be overcome, and the feelings that are associated with winning will be delivered once the task is completed. That is a fucking run-on sentence if I've ever seen one. My god, I've always had an issue with that. Humans crave this feeling of accomplishment. Pairing this feeling with an existing dopamine boost, playing video games, is a great way to keep our brains engaged and addicted to a task. In digital environments especially, humans really get this craving to complete the task, beat the boss, or win. This is partially due to outside motivation, like seeing someone speedrun a game that released yesterday, and because there are no real-life consequences other than wasting time, which doesn't really register as time wasting as long as we are moving closer to a goal. And here we come to the crux of the video. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Code Vein, Lies of Peace, Sekiro, Sultan Sanctuary, Celeste, Blasphemous, Hollow Knight, Star Wars, Elden Ring, and dare I say this Crash Bandicoot all have this principle in the forefront. When designing these games, the most important thing was the difficulty challenge to reward ratio. These games could have the most engaging story, best art style, and amazing soundtrack, but if it didn't feel good to play, then it wouldn't be a massive success. We come back to these games even after we fail hundreds or thousands of times because of how it feels to beat the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, Growl, The High Road, Orphan of Kos. We love the story and the art style, how the combat feels and more, but at the heart of it all is the challenge. A boss runback is too tough or irritating? It will feel more of a slog to get through, and the sense of achievement after finally killing Growl is clouded by a stronger feeling of thank god I never have to do that again. A boss has too little attack strings. It's easy to learn, but it doesn't feel like much of a victory when you win. This delicate balance is quintessential, and without it, people wouldn't play these games for decades, figuring out the best strats and overcoming even harder challenges. Game difficulty is also highly linked to storytelling. In Jedi Fallen Order, for example, the story is interesting to Star Wars fans, but these fans may not be good at games. They turn down the difficulty to see and hear the story events related to their favorite franchise and are satisfied. Gamers who are maybe not into Star Wars can still enjoy the story, but difficult combat makes encounters seem consequential. They have a deeper impact on the player, and even if you've never seen Star Wars, you'd still be wrapped up in the story because your character becomes an extension of you while you're both struggling. More on that, difficulty can be intrinsically linked to the themes of a game. I am not proud of how many times I had to say that sentence to get it out. It's why we have the saying, Souls-like, because Dark Souls paved the way for games that have a meaningful story that is hugely amplified by difficulty. It's a tough world. Your character in-game is struggling, other characters are struggling, and this relates you to them, even though our lives couldn't be more different. So, what happens when a game is difficult? A culture develops around it, mainly the get good crowd, speedrunners and glitches, which then evolves into people doing the wackiest stuff known to mankind. This leads to my favorite thing, cheese. Cheese is an easy way to get the boss out of the way. I think everyone's cheesed a boss in their life, whether it's Yorms by his sword in the arena to the spike meta for constant Radahn. Although at least, I don't think there's anything wrong with cheesing after throwing yourself at the boss and getting laid out hundreds of times. There's definitely something to be said for the times when you're facing a boss that initially seems impossible and immediately trying to find a way to break their AI or use a broken build to destroy their health bar. We know that quick dopamine is all around us. We can hit our vape or scroll on Instagram or go outside and touch some grass, but the feeling isn't the same as that 2-hour hike. Cheesing a boss sucks the challenge right out and therefore the fun right out of the game. But why do we do it? Because we have so many quick fixes. We want things now, not after spending 2 hours learning a boss. Challenge runs are, of course, an exception to this rule. It's common that speedrunners or challenge runners will exploit boss mechanics in order to get the best results because the game itself or the boss isn't the challenge. Their goal is to milk their health bar as fast as possible or beat them with only your bare left elbow with a guitar or a controller while blindfolded. The challenge doesn't come from the boss fight itself, but the method that is used to win. Would speedrunners exist without the internet? If no one was donating to them, would people still spend hundreds or thousands of hours perfecting runs and challenging each other? I think yes. People will always be competitive with themselves and each other, and taking away monetary value wouldn't stop people's inherent drive and passion to be good. So why waste time on video games? Well, I never consider it a waste of time. I think especially challenging games teach us perseverance, resilience, and grit. It trains your reaction times and coordination, problem solving, and multitasking. Although you still should probably have less hours in League of Legends and again touch some grass, the time spent on video games, being social, overcoming impossible challenges, and improving is time well spent. There are limits and nuances to this, but if it pushes us to keep going, then we should. Finally, the pursuit of challenge, as discussed in this video, is a microcosm of the inherent human desire to overcome and conquer anything that stands between us and that next feel-good moment. This is done in many forms and depends on the genre, target audience, and overall game reception into the community. But that's gonna do it for this video. I spent a really long time, longer than 5 minutes, writing this script and probably like 6 hours editing this video, so I'd very much appreciate a like. It's free. Tell me your thoughts on dopamine and how it's affected gamers, and subscribe for more content. Join me on Twitch where I stream random things every now and again, and I'll see you in the next one.